Good morning everyone, happy Monday. Hope you all enjoyed your weekend. Today's video is going to be a full day of me matching meals with my 11-month-old. I'm super excited about this one. It definitely forced me to get really creative to think of meals that I would enjoy, but also that are baby-led weaning friendly. If you follow me on Instagram, you may already know this, but I am totally vegan. I don't eat meat, eggs, fish, or dairy, but Bennett eats all of those things. So coming up with meals that are nutritious and healthy, but that follow both of our diets was pretty tricky. I think I've come up with some really good meal ideas for today. I'm trying a couple new recipes, so super excited to see how everything turns out. It is about 7:30 in the morning right now. We already got our coffee, so I'm nice and caffeinated and ready to get cooking. For our first matching meal of the day, we are making a super healthy breakfast, a tofu and veggie scramble with some fruit and some dairy-free yogurt. Let's start by chopping some veggies. So we have some spinach that we are chopping into thin strips, then we are going to chop some red pepper. I am first chopping this into thin strips, then dicing it into super small pieces. Bea loves red pepper, so adding a good amount of this. Now in a separate bowl, I am taking 1 pack of extra firm tofu and crumbling it. I would recommend leaving some larger chunks in here so it is easy for them to eat. Now you can add in the seasonings of your choice. I am using 1 teaspoon of garlic and 1 teaspoon of paprika. Mixing this all together. Before we add in our veggies, I am also adding in about a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. This adds a little bit of a cheesy taste and it is super healthy. You could skip this or substitute it for a little bit of cheese. Now we can add in our spinach and red pepper that we chopped earlier and mix everything together. I have a pan on the stove on medium heat, which I am adding some olive oil to. I'm going to let that heat up for a bit, then adding in the tofu scramble. I'm cooking this for about 5 minutes, letting it sit on one side for a few minutes so it gets a little crispy. Alright, our food is ready, so let's put the plates together. First adding in our tofu and veggie scramble. Adding some of this silk strawberry yogurt. Bea usually eats plain Greek yogurt, so this was definitely a sweet treat for him. As another side, I have raspberries, blueberries, and cucumbers. Of course, I chopped Bennett's food up further than mine, so it's super easy for him to eat. Once I finish setting all this on the plate, breakfast is ready. So we just finished breakfast and we both loved it. It was so yummy. I was really nervous about it. I don't cook tofu a lot at home and I've definitely never made a tofu scramble before, but it was really good. Bennett and I both finished our plate and I think that's something I will definitely recreate in the future. I'm gonna clean up from breakfast and then I'm gonna play with Bennett for a while, hopefully get him nice and tired so he'll take a nap before we have to go to swim class. Hello. How was your nap? Look at that hair. It is a mess. Are you excited? Hi. We just got back from swim class. Bennett did so good today. He is making so much progress. It's so fun to see him getting more comfortable in the water every time we go, and he loves it. He just thinks it's playtime. I changed my dress after swim class. I'm going to be making a new recipe for lunch, and I just knew I was probably going to get something on that white dress. It's 11:30 right now, so we're going to make lunch in about an hour, but Bennett's usually pretty hungry after swim class, and I'm always hungry, so we're going to split a snack. We're going to have a banana with some peanut butter. It's almost lunchtime, so let's start cooking. Making a super simple and healthy quinoa and chickpea meatball. Let's start by cooking the quinoa. I'm rinsing 1 cup of dry quinoa, then in a pot I'm adding 2 cups of water with the 1 cup of quinoa and turning the stove onto high heat. Now I am draining and rinsing 1 can of chickpeas and chopping about a 1/4 cup of green onion. Heading back over to the stove, now that the water is boiling, we can turn the heat down to low, put the lid on and let it simmer for 15 minutes. Once the 15 minutes is up and the quinoa is cooked, I am adding everything to my food processor. So I have 1 can of chickpeas, 1 cup of quinoa, 1/4 cup of chopped green onion, 1 teaspoon of garlic, and 1 teaspoon of paprika, letting that blend until it is a smooth consistency. Now I can form the meatballs, setting these on some tin foil on a baking sheet that I sprayed with some olive oil so they don't stick. I also recommend brushing these with some olive oil or avocado oil. These can go in the oven at 375 for 18 to 20 minutes. For the rest of the meals, we have some fruit. I picked orange and watermelon, and then I have some steamed green beans. Bennett is 11 months and is recently able to eat green beans, but you can swap these for any veggie if your little one has a hard time eating them. Those chickpea and quinoa meatballs were so good. I have tried to make a couple vegan meatball recipes before, and that was definitely the best one. As always, I made a pretty big batch, so I have plenty added to my freezer stash, which is always awesome. I definitely recommend you guys give that one a try. I'm going to make sure I post the full recipe on my blog at typicalboymom.com. I have a couple errands to run, so my husband is going to play with Bennett for a little bit. When I come back, I'll read with Bennett for a little bit before I start making some dinner. Dinner time. For dinner, I'm making lentil pasta with a creamy vegan pesto with some baked potato slices and of course some fruit. Starting off, I'm going to clean and boil the potatoes for about 8 minutes. I do this to make sure they are super soft on the inside and easy for Bennett to eat. While those are boiling, let's make our pesto. So adding 1.5 cups of fresh basil, 1 teaspoon of garlic, 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. If you are not dairy free, I recommend using a grated cheese. And then I have 1/2 cup of pine nuts, 1/4 cup of olive oil, and 1/4 cup of almond milk. Letting this blend together until it is smooth. Now the potatoes are done boiling, so preheating my oven to 375. Once the potatoes cool, I'm slicing them and putting them on an oiled baking sheet. Now I'm going to mix some olive oil with a teaspoon of garlic and a teaspoon of parsley. This will go on top of the potatoes, then these can go into the oven for about 15 to 18 minutes. While the potatoes are cooking, getting my lentil pasta into some boiling water to cook. Cutting up my fruit side now, I chose kiwis and raspberries for this meal. At this point, the pasta is done, the potatoes are done, so let's put together Bennett's plate. Starting off with the fruit, then I have the lentil pasta, giving these a rough chop, then adding our creamy pesto sauce. Lastly, adding our potatoes, and now I can put together my plate and then dinner will be ready. I feel like I ate so much today, but everything was so good, and Bennett seemed to really enjoy every meal. I feel like I ate so much today, but everything was so yummy, and Bennett really seemed to enjoy every meal, which is of course a huge win for me. We're just gonna hang out for a little bit and watch some TV before we try to put the little man to bed. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe. I post new videos every Monday. And if you're not already, make sure you also follow me over on Instagram at typicalboymom, where I share a lot more baby-led weaning meal ideas